So, so I came out here. My idea was that I was going to work with just clay slips, and so I prepared different clay slips from different clays that I've been working with. I've been working with clay for way too long, for 40 years, and so I know how to work with clay, but I also kind of interested in how clay behaves and how the earth behaves. And you know, a number of years ago, there was this wonderful appearance of a seam of clay at the beach at Newcomb Hollow, and ever since then I've been documenting that several times a year, continuously. But I've gotten it down so I'm at least after the biggest seasons, I go back and I look at what's changed. And you know, and so there was this big thing of clay, and over time it's behaved as clay will behave. First it was exposed after you know, millennia, and then once it's exposed, everything changes, right? So it gets exposed and then it dries, and then maybe it rains and it wets again, but now it's been dry. So clay, when it's been dry, will slake away, and slaking meaning it gets dissolved, not dissolved, but it gets washed away from the body of it. And so then I'd come back another day and I'd find it on the ground with rain speckles in it, or it had cracked. So I brought this clay slip in various kinds of clay, and also some dry clay and some pigment, a little bit of pigment, and came here and picked this spot. I picked this spot because it had slope in two directions, and it had this gorgeous moss to work with. So I've got my green, you know, beautiful spring green color, and so I've been working in this space all week, one day at a time. I kept adding things, and we've only had one weather event in the time that I've been working, and that was after the first night, in which the whole first part washed away. But this green part down here, that's all modeled, that probably looked like this before the rain. So I can't wait for the next rain to see what will happen. So none of this flow has been caused by rain or by washing. Really, it was really like, it felt like I'd been given this beautiful canvas, and the clay slip was the paint, and some of it was really runny, and some of it was thick and glommy. Like I was all by myself in this cold place on the weekend, and during the weekend, and I picked up one of these pieces of dug into the thing of clay and went, and it looked just like a cow pie, you know. And then that was fun. So this whole gray part happened that way at the beginning, and this clay was dug at Newcomb Hollow, the green one, and then I started, of course, noticing all the different colors that clays together. They're green and blue and red and yellow and white, and just such beautiful colors. And so I've been building this thing, and the next part of it is that it's going to change, right? So when I first started doing appearances, I did a piece, and then there was a monsoon storm that night, and I came back, and all of the people, fortunately there weren't that many of you that year, and I came back, and it was like everything I had left the night before was gone. And so now I'm determined to make my pieces work with that, as opposed to getting like dismayed by it. I'm anxious for it to happen, so I can't wait till the next rainstorm. So I've got a little time-lapse thing going on here. It's being recorded every 15 minutes. And it's like, you know, I mean, watching clay dry is a little like watching paint dry. I mean, it's not that interesting, but we'll see what happens over the course of the next however long it stays here. I guess a month, or however long they'll let me keep it here and watch it. It will crack. It started cracking in some places. There are places, if you look closely, you'll see places where dried clay has been absorbed by water and then is crackling in ways that only clay will do. And there are some ceramic pieces in it. And also, you know, I had thought I was going to do this thing about mud and clay flowing, and then of course the mudslide happened in Washington, and that was such a tragedy. You know, it really colored how I started thinking about this, and I'm not sure how it colored it or how I will continue to think about it, except that I did add some of these clay pieces into fired ceramic pieces, it's almost symbols of trees and the way trees hold the earth, and the way trees don't hold the earth when there's mudslides after clear cutting. So not to be too obvious in a statement, but just to have that element in there, and maybe as it flows, we'll see how those trees maybe catch things that might not get caught in other places. And anyway, so that's